I wish I had as supportive as family members as the last storyteller. It's not quite the case. Anyway. In 1989, my life took a bunch of crazy fucking turns. I wasn't going to swear, but that was my third word. Anyway, it took really nutty turns. I had basically lost my livelihood. I was 19, by the way. Dated myself. Lost my livelihood, which I actually did have a decent livelihood at the time. Lost a livelihood, and then shortly thereafter, I was beat up in my living room with baseball bats. Which sent me to the hospital and had really expensive bills, all this fun stuff, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? This is not a good way to start. So I reached into myself and I was like, creativity, you're creative. Do something creative. So one day, all of a sudden, I got the little bolt of lightning. And I was like, hey, what if you put a pen tip in the end of a top? You get these really cool designs. And basically started a company. A few months later, my uncle, who was a very entrepreneurial person, asked me, he said, hey, have you had any good ideas lately? And I said, actually, I had this great fucking idea. I said, put a pen in the end of the top. You're going to get these really, really, really cool designs. And he was like, oh my God, that is epic. So the next day, and this was around Christmas time, so we knew that the toy stores were just stocked with the latest and greatest and all the best shit. So we went out to all the toy stores, and instead of buying toys for his kids and all of our friends, we were just like asking the toy shop owners, hey, have you ever seen this thing? And they're like, no, we haven't seen that. And we're like, oh my God, we have something good here. So we decided to go into business together with a little product we called Doodly-Doo. That's how green we were. Never, ever, ever name a product Doodly-Doo. We just thought it was kind of cool because the way the top spun, you made all these little designs. But as we learned that nobody would take us seriously. So anyway, we decided to jump into bed together, do business together. And this guy was great. My uncle was very entrepreneurial. He was kind of one of those people that, you tell something to, they get excited about, and something's going to happen. So I was really excited. I was like, oh my God, here I am, this loser fucking 19-year-old. Not doing shit with his life. Get beat up by baseball bats. Now I've got something going. And it started going really quick, actually. We made a prototype with about $10. We just bought a bunch of crap off the store shelves and put it together. Actually made almost that, identical, off the Crayola and a bunch of other crap we found at Nature Company and things. So anyway, we went for it, and he had some buddies down in LA, and we had this kind of hookup, and we had to go out. We knew if we were going to sell this thing, we needed to have some action, So we had to go pitch some companies. So we took a trip to LA. Well, it just so happened our goal in LA was actually to meet with Mattel, but Mattel basically gave us a shrug as soon as we showed up, on the 405. They were like, go fuck yourself, kids. But we did get a couple other really important meetings, and one was with Bandai Toys, which were at that time, what were they called? I don't know, some action hero guys. But anyway, Bandai Toys became a big company, and we went and met with them, and they said, hey, this is great, we just don't know what to do with it. You got to go meet with our friends at Simon Marketing. So we're like, who the fuck's Simon Marketing? Simon Marketing was the biggest toy manufacturer per unit in the world. They made McDonald's Happy Meals. Yeah. They sold something like 10 billion units a year of product. So if you met with Simon Marketing and you got their attention, that was kind of a big fucking deal. Right? So we end up at Simon Marketing, sitting in the office of their VP of Creative. We walk in with our little janky top. Do this. The office is filled with toys. I mean, every single flat surface walls, everything, you name it, it was filled with every toy McDonald's ever stuck in any of their hamburgers. It was just everywhere. The guy looks at us, and he goes, I can't fucking believe it. Yes, 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 yes. And he jumps out of his chair. He's like, hold on, 1 minute. Oh my God, he runs out of the office. We're like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, we're sitting here in like Toy Mecca right now. We're like, holy shit, got somebody's attention. And he comes back with the president of Simon Marketing. And they're like, we have never said yes easier than we are saying it today. You guys are going to be millionaires by the end of the year. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Done. Thanks for hitting me with a baseball bat, asshole. It looks like it worked. But anyway, so we're really excited. But the day doesn't end because my uncle's friend happens to be a big-time producer in Hollywood. So we end up hanging out with Elton John, Michael Penn, the Rolling Stones lawyer, and his mistress at the Palm, eating a lobster the size of a 4-year-old. And I was like, I can't fucking believe this. This is crazy. What? I mean, this is so easy. God, creativity. Who knew? Big. So I know the other night I'm, getting playing footsie with the Rolling Stones mistress, and the night's just magical. And I'm beside myself. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I'm done. I don't have to worry about anything. I can retire, next week. Whatever, done. I can go, put a hit on the motherfucker that hit me with a baseball bat. Go move to Bali. Anyway. So it was just a magical day. But it basically set us off on this whirlwind adventure in the toy industry, which is a brutal, brutal, brutal industry. Don't do it if you have any ideas. So anyway, it basically started an incredible family business that we built. And we were so inspired by these meetings. We went out, we found a distributor, they ordered 30,000 units, we got investors. I mean, it was, exciting. Everybody was behind it. They were like, this is this is the next thing. We're on it. And I happened to be right in the middle of it. And so we built a company, we built a family, we did a lot of incredible things. We were California State Employer of the Year for people with disabilities. We were making the product here in the USA, actually just down in San Jose, out of recycled plastic. And mind you, this was the early 90s. Everything was being outsourced to China. So to actually do this here in the States was a big deal. But it was something that we felt really good about. And I was really excited because I had a mentor, and it was a mentor that was really creative, really energetic, and it was a family member. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more than that. So we had this incredible run, and it just kept getting better. In 1992, we finally got the attention of FAO Schwartz. And at that time, FAO Schwartz, they're not really existing anymore, but at that time they were a big, big deal. If you were at FAO Schwartz on 5th Avenue at Christmas, you were the shit. You were the fucking shit. I'm not kidding. And I was the shit in 1992. I was the shit on 5th Avenue in 1992, man. I had people ripping fucking boxes open to buy my product. It was crazy. It was totally insane. It was all those, all the idea, you come up with that idea and you hit it. It happened. It all just gelled right there on the floor in 1992. So all of a sudden, we end up getting catapulted to sort of the top of the toy industry. And along the way, it was interesting because we had some really funny experiences where people didn't trust us. And one of the times that people really didn't trust us was when we first walked into the toy building. And the toy building was at 205th Avenue in New York. It doesn't exist anymore, but when it did exist, I'm already at 8 minutes, fuck, okay. When it did exist, if you walked in there green, you would leave there pale and gray, because basically the toy building was a lot of large men in Armani suits smoking cigarettes, holding dolls. So the only way you could actually get somebody's attention was to hang yourself in front of a Barbie display. Well, we got the attention of the industry and really got their attention to the point of selling nearly 30 million units over the course of our building this company. It was awesome. It was an incredible experience until the harsh reality of not really minding your business set in. I'd had the wonderful opportunity of developing this toy, building it with my family, selling millions of units, living this great lifestyle. I moved to New York, went to school because I was doing the business. And I remember one day specifically, I was in our showroom, where when we started there, we had a little 12 by 12 area to display. By the time, 6 years later, we had an actual 6 by 4 display with planograms for all the big mass market people to buy and all that fun stuff. There was a message for me at the showroom. Call the company when you get out of your meeting, but don't call the showroom. We didn't have cell phones yet. So I went downstairs, 205th Avenue, listening to my shoes clickety-clack through the marble hallways, which was always kind of sexy. Tucked myself into a little phone booth, and it was my uncle on the phone. And we were trying to raise some more money to grow the company, but I was a little misled that raising money and selling the company wasn't part of the conversation. So anyway, I get the call, and he goes, "Hey, we're selling the company." I'm like, "Wow, that's great. Didn't know we were doing that." Yeah, you're going to get, X amount of dollars. Well, that X amount of dollars was a fraction of a year's salary. And I asked my uncle, I said, "Well, how does that figure out? I mean, where's my equity in the company?" My equity in the company was based on the royalties that have never been paid, right? He goes, "No, you don't have any equity in the company." I was like, "Oh, really? Okay." He said, "You'll get this," and I didn't agree with that. It was one of the last times we talked. So I hired a lawyer, thinking that it was probably a good idea just to have a lawyer to represent me through the transaction, which set off a shitstorm of family relationships. Big time. It set off a level of humility that I haven't experienced over the last 6 years of developing this company. And one was having to go work at a restaurant to support myself. In supporting myself at the restaurant, I had to serve one day my buyers from F.A.O. Schwartz, who we had done millions of dollars of business with. Typically, I would be the guy at lunch with them. Today, I was serving them lunch. Anyway, trying to get the moral of the story together here. The reality was, building this great company, this great organization, having this great experience, and promoting a toy, this very wholesome idea, we got to this level of the family where deception was absolutely a part of the deal, completely. I was sold out for my position in the company for his equity stake, which I did not learn until the transaction of the sale went down. Unfortunately, today, or fortunately, the product still remains intact, but my family does not. But I have a doodle top for somebody if anybody wants one. I don't know where I put the cap though. Anybody want one? Merry Christmas.